You cannot judge me, my bloodline is older than your entire country. The words hang in the air, thick and suffocating. The courtroom, usually a place of shuffling papers and whispered consultations, goes deathly still. Prince Emil of Valdavia, 21 years old and fourth in line to a throne halfway across the world, doesn't just speak these words, he spits them out. He isn't looking at the floor in shame. He isn't looking at his attorney for guidance. He is looking directly into the eyes of Judge Caprio, smiling a cold, amused smile. To Emil, this is a farce, a game. He believes the badge on the judge's chest is a toy compared to the crest on his passport. But he has made a critical miscalculation. He thinks he is standing before a bureaucrat. He doesn't realize he is standing before a man who has spent decades looking into the eyes of the arrogant and teaching them the one lesson money cannot buy: humility. What happens in the next 20 minutes will not only strip away a prince's title, but will force a king to make a public statement that no one saw coming. Before we witness this historic showdown, take a second to look at the subscribe button. Less than 5% of the people watching this story are actually subscribed. If you believe that justice should be blind, whether you are a pauper or a prince, and if you support Judge Caprio's mission to bring fairness to the courtroom, hit that button right now. This is a story about power, privilege, and the moment reality comes crashing down. It is a rainy Tuesday morning in Providence. The docket is full. Single mothers fighting parking tickets, college students explaining expired inspections, construction workers hoping for a reduction on a speeding fine. The atmosphere is routine, practical, until the doors swing open. Usually defendants walk in alone, maybe with a nervous public defender. Prince Emil walks in with an entourage. Two private security guards in dark suits push through the gate first, physically moving a waiting defendant aside. Then comes the attorney, Julian Thorne, a man whose suits cost more than the average car in the parking lot. And finally, Emil. He is wearing sunglasses indoors. He is scrolling on a gold-plated smartphone. He doesn't sit on the bench designated for defendants. He leans against the railing, chewing gum, looking around the wood-paneled room with distinct disgust. Judge Caprio, who was in the middle of reviewing a file, stops. He lowers his reading glasses. The silence in the room is heavy. "Excuse me," Caprio says, his voice calm but carrying that familiar edge of authority. "Is there a reason we have a security detail inside a municipal courtroom?" The attorney, Mr. Thorne, steps forward immediately. "Your Honor, my client requires protection at all times. He is a high-profile individual, a member of the Royal House of Valdavia." Caprio stares at the security guards. "In this courtroom, the only protection required is the protection of the law. Officers, please escort the private security out. They can wait in the hallway." The guards hesitate. They look at the prince. Emil doesn't even look up from his phone. He just flicks his wrist, a dismissive gesture. "Go." The guards leave. The power dynamic has shifted just an inch. But Emil doesn't seem to notice. He thinks he still holds all the cards. "Call the case," Caprio says, his eyes fixed on the young man in the sunglasses. The clerk, looking slightly rattled by the tension, stands up. "Case number 4492 CV. The City of Providence versus Emil Alexei von Hollen. Charges are as follows. Speeding 95 miles per hour in a 35 mile per hour residential zone. Failure to stop for a police command. Reckless driving endangering the public, and parking in a designated fire lane." The courtroom gasps. 95 in a 35, that isn't speeding, that is a death wish. Caprio looks at the file. He looks at the photos attached. A bright yellow McLaren Spider wrapped around a fire hydrant, smoke rising from the hood in the evidence photos. 95 miles per hour, Caprio repeats slowly. "In a residential zone, Mr. Thorne, I assume your client understands that people live there, children play there." Thorne clears his throat, opening a leather briefcase. "Your Honor, my client is unfamiliar with the specific zoning laws of Providence. In his home country, speed limits on certain roadways are suggestions. Furthermore, he was being pursued by paparazzi. He felt his safety was compromised." "Paparazzi?" Caprio asks. "The police report says Officer Miller attempted to pull the vehicle over for 3 miles. The defendant did not stop until he lost control of the vehicle and struck public property." Thorne smiles, a practiced, oily smile. "A misunderstanding of the siren, Your Honor. The sirens in Valdavia sound different. My client was confused." It is a weak defense, everyone knows it, but Thorne isn't trying to win on facts. He is trying to bore the court into a dismissal. Then, for the first time, Prince Emil speaks. He hasn't taken off his sunglasses. "Are we done?" Emil asks. His accent is slight, cultured, sounding bored. "I have a flight to Aspen at 3 p.m. Just tell me the number so Julian can write the check." Judge Caprio sets his pen down. The sound is like a gunshot in the quiet room. Mr. Von Hollen, Caprio says, first of all take off the sunglasses, you are indoors. Emil sighs loudly. He removes the glasses, revealing eyes that look tired and annoyed. He spins the glasses by the stem. Second, Caprio continues. You are not at a drive-through window, you do not order a fine and drive away. You are charged with criminal negligence that could have killed someone. But I didn't, Emil interrupts. Did I? The car is damaged, I will pay for the hydrant, I will pay for the ticket. Money is not an issue here, Judge. Let's not pretend this is about safety. It's about revenue. How much does this city need? 5,010. He reaches into his jacket pocket and pulls out a checkbook. The disrespect is palpable. The audience in the back rows is murmuring. Put the checkbook away, Caprio says, his voice dropping an octave. You seem to be under the impression that you can buy your way out of this procedure. I don't have an impression, Emil says, smirking. I have a reality. My father is King Stefan. Do you know what that means? It means I have diplomatic immunity. Technically, I shouldn't even be standing here. I'm doing you a courtesy by showing up. This is the moment. The diplomatic immunity card, the ultimate get-out-of-jail free pass. Mr. Thorne steps in quickly. Your Honor, while my client is phrasing it, bluntly, he is correct. As a direct heir, he holds a diplomatic passport. Under the Vienna Convention, he is immune from prosecution in minor criminal matters. Caprio leans back, he interlaces his fingers. Minor criminal matters, Caprio repeats. Mr. Thorne, look at the screen. Caprio points to the monitor on his bench. We have the body cam footage from Officer Miller. I want everyone to see this minor matter. The video plays on the large screens in the courtroom. The audio kicks in first. The roar of an engine, the sirens screaming. The visual shows the yellow McLaren weaving through traffic, cutting off a school bus, forcing a minivan onto the sidewalk. You can hear the officer screaming over the radio. Suspect is not stopping, speeds in excess of 90. Then the crash, the car spins, slams into the hydrant. Water sprays everywhere. The door of the McLaren opens. On the video, Prince Emil steps out. He doesn't check on the other cars. He doesn't look at the damage. He looks at his phone. When the officer runs up, shouting, "Hands where I can see them," Emil on the video simply holds up a hand and says, "Do not touch me, I am royalty." The video ends. The courtroom is silent. The arrogance captured on tape is even worse than the arrogance in the room. That, Caprio says, pointing at the frozen image of the crashed car, is not a minor matter. That is a disregard for human life. Emil shrugs, nobody died. Why are we being dramatic? Dramatic, Caprio asks. Young man, there was a school bus in that video. 10 seconds difference and you would have cut that bus in half. You wouldn't be standing here with a checkbook. You would be standing here in handcuffs facing manslaughter charges. But I'm not, Emil says, and I have immunity. So, are you going to let me go, or do I need to call the embassy and have them explain your own laws to you? Judge Caprio looks at the attorney. Mr. Thorne, you represent the family often. I do, your honors. And does King Stefan know his son is claiming immunity for endangering American citizens? Thorne hesitates, the king is. A busy man, he leaves these matters to me. I see, Caprio says, so the king doesn't know. Caprio turns to the bailiff. Inspector Quinn, please hand me the phone. Emil laughs, who are you calling, the president? No, Caprio says, dialing a number from a sheet of paper on his desk. I'm calling the Valdavian consulate in Boston. We have a direct line for verifying diplomatic status. For the first time, Emil stops smiling. He glances at Thorne. Thorne looks nervous. Your Honor, Thorne says, that is highly irregular. We have the passport right here. I believe you have the passport, Caprio says, holding the phone to his ear. I just want to clarify the extent of the immunity. The room waits, the tension is electric. Yes, Caprio says into the phone, this is Judge Frank Caprio, Chief Judge of the Providence Municipal Court. I have a detainee here, Emil von Hollen. He is claiming full diplomatic immunity regarding a criminal reckless driving charge. Yes, I'll hold. Emil is tapping his foot now. The boredom is gone, replaced by irritation. This is a waste of time, Emil mutters. Caprio holds up a finger, quiet. He listens. Impossible, Thorne snaps. The consulate informs me, Caprio says, picking up a piece of paper that the clerk just handed him from the fax machine, that following an incident in Paris last year involving your older brother, King Stefan issued a new decree regarding the behavior of the royal family abroad. Emil goes pale. The decree states, Caprio reads, that any member of the family who endangers the public welfare of a host nation is subject to the local laws of that nation. The king has explicitly waived immunity for traffic violations involving gross negligence. Caprio drops the paper on the desk. Your shield is gone, son. You are not a prince in this room. You are a defendant. The transformation in Emil is instant. The slouch disappears. He stands up straighter, but not out of pride, out of fear. That cannot be right, Emil stammers. My father wouldn't. Your father believes in accountability, Caprio says. Something you seem to have missed in your education. Mr. Thorne, Emil looks at his lawyer. Thorne is reading the fax paper, his face gray. It appears the judge is correct. The waiver is signed by the king himself. So Caprio leans forward. Now that we have established that you are subject to my court, let's talk about the penalty. I'll pay, Emil says quickly. I'll pay double, triple. Stop talking about money, Caprio's voice booms. It startles everyone. You still don't get it. You think the solution to every problem is writing a check. You nearly killed people. You drove like a maniac because you thought you were untouchable. And then you came into my courtroom, insulted the process, insulted the officer, and treated this bench like a customer service desk. Caprio picks up the file. I could suspend your license, I could fine you. But that won't teach you anything. You have drivers, you have millions. A fine to you is like a penny to everyone else here. Emil is silent now, he looks small. I am going to do something different, Caprio says. I am going to sentence you to time. Jail, Emil whispers, his eyes wide. No, Caprio says, time in the community. You are going to complete 100 hours of community service, but not just anywhere. You are going to serve those hours at the Providence Trauma Rehabilitation Center. Thorne starts to object, Your Honor, surely. Sit down, Counselor, Caprio commands. He looks at Emil. You are going to work with victims of car accidents. You are going to see people who have lost their legs, people who have to learn to walk again, people whose lives were destroyed by reckless drivers like you. You are going to push wheelchairs, you are going to clean floors, you are going to listen to their stories. And Caprio adds, you are going to write a letter of apology to Officer Miller for your behavior during the arrest. A sincere letter. If I sense even a hint of arrogance in it, I will revoke this sentence and we will discuss jail time. Do you understand me? Emil stands there, the sunglasses are in his hand, forgotten. The checkbook is back in his pocket. He looks around the room. He sees the people he sneered at earlier. The single mom, the construction worker. They are looking back at him not with envy but with judgment. For the first time in his life, Emil feels shame. I understand, Emil says quietly. I can't hear you, Caprio says. I understand, Your Honor, Emil says louder. I apologize. Don't apologize to me, Caprio says. Apologize to the city you endangered. Emil turns to the courtroom. It is an awkward, painful moment. I am sorry, he says to the room. Good luck, Mr. Von Hollen, Caprio says, picking up his pen. I suggest you use those 100 hours to think about what kind of man you want to be. Because right now the title Prince is the only thing making you special. And titles don't make a man, character does. Case closed. As Prince Emil walked out of the courtroom, he looked different. The swagger was gone. The security guards were waiting outside, but he didn't snap his fingers at them. He walked quietly to the car, head down. Judge Caprio didn't just enforce the law that day. He dismantled an ego. He proved that in the United States, in Providence Municipal Court, there are no kings, there are only citizens. Emil completed his 100 hours. Reports say he spent extra time at the center, actually talking to the families. Maybe, just maybe, the king knew exactly what he was doing when he signed that waiver. He knew his son didn't need protection, he needed a wake-up call. And Judge Frank Caprio was the only man brave enough to make the call. What do you think? Did the prince get off too easy with community service, or was forcing him